And even when they tried to prove that Earth was revolving around the sun, they killed a lot of people because of that.
Yes.
So
because the political opinion was different at the time.
yeah, and now information travels much faster because of the technology that we have, and proving and disproving scientific hypothesis is much faster, because the scientific method says if one experiment disproves it, this is done. This cannot be a law, right?
Yes.
So theoretically, the thing that Stefan is doing is to enhance certain aspects of a photo to show another realm to the observer. In the end, that's that, right?
I would say it's a little bit, it's near that, it's basically...
I'm trying to explain it as simple as possible.
Yes, it already exists, and he makes it visible.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the same thing. If you take your dog's nose smells much better than yours. So the smells that the dog gets is not real for you, but it's real for that. And they can smell like back to 6 months. Say you had some meat on the floor, you cleaned it, you don't smell it anymore, but the dog knows it's there.
And it's still happy to sit there, and you don't know why.
And
yeah, I also believe that we limited by our abilities actually as a human being.
Yeah,
so we don't know any other
but
things.
the thing is, we invented
cannot
planes.
know actually.
We cannot run 3,000 kilometers an hour, but we have planes. We can do that. But for a person that has never seen a plane, that's magic again. And the first flight was in 1900, Wright brothers. And in 60 years, mankind landed on the moon. That's crazy.
And even that's up for discussion among certain people.
No, they did. If they say Kubrick did that, and if Kubrick did that, he probably would go to the moon, because that's the director that he is. So 60 years for that is crazy. And go back in 19,000s, the infant death percentage was about 70%, because we didn't know what microbes was. Now it's much less, because we know what microbes are, we know what hygiene is, and everything changes. With that, it will change also. And this type of technologies change the narrative all around the societies, how people interact with each other, right? I will go back to social media. 30 years ago, no social media, everybody was private.
The question is now, which I would like to put into the group, has this made our life better, all this development, or has it made our life more complicated? Because there are days.
Yeah,
it can be two things at the same time.
No, it
What's
can't.
your take on that? What's your take on that?
Can't.
Really?
It can't be. When you pass the limit, you already passed the limit.
What's better though?
I think it's individual. Like for example,
Yes,
what is your opinion?
Kind of thinking individual. Yeah, I just wanted to be more limited about this kind of things. Actually, I shouldn't use everything in every aspect of life. Actually,
Shouldn't.
yes,
What do you
I
do?
shouldn't. I don't want to, but I have to do.
You can say, I don't like to breathe, but you have to.
No, it's
That's
not.
how it
like
is.
that. Actually, it's not like that.
It is exactly like that.
No,
if you are
it's
in the
not
space
exactly
of music,
like
you have to use social media. You have to. You cannot run away from that.
Yes, but there should be some limits. But
You can use that limit. You can.
no, I cannot
You can constrain
use.
yourself.
No. When you take a look at the whole picture, you can see we cannot use those.
That's
limits.
what I said.
Yes, no, it's not.
You can say that I don't like to breathe because breathing hurts.
No,
my
I'm not
nose.
talking
But
about
in the end,
breathing.
you have to breathe.
I'm
Social
not
media is
talking
like
about
that.
breathing.
Okay, let's go.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I mean,
You know.
let's be honest. My grandfather died a few years ago,
Oh.
and definitely there was social media, but he never used it in his
He
life.
never had to use
didn't-
Tinder to get girls. That's the reason.
He
That's the reason.
never even understood that it exists, and he lived a happy life. So I think,
Yes.
yes, you can refuse it. The question is, what's the consequences for you?
So
You'll be alone.
in these conditions, I'm trying to explain that.
Let's go.
Yeah, so I don't want those conditions,
Okay.
but I have to be in those conditions, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the same thing.
That's the line. If someone passed this line is already be passed, you know.
Let's go.
So everyone else has to use this also. So I'm confused about actually this part of it. So it includes lots of things. It includes ethics. It includes individuality,
Yes.
preferences. I don't know.
I mean, let's maybe go back to the point. If we could, for example, really create an imaging process where we can understand a person is saying the truth, or the person is creating, how's that called today? Alternative truth.
Alternative.
It's no longer called lying, right?
Yes, let's
Even
make
though,
it
of course, it doesn't
softer.
exist.
Politically correct term for lying, yeah?
Yeah, the politically correct term for
Yeah.
lying. Of course, that would make choices much more easy.
Yeah.
Let's buy a product, right? The product promises you it's healthy, but really it's not healthy. And of course, the commercial says this is so healthy. Give it to your wife, give it to your children, give it
That
to
was
your
cigarettes
friends.
So
in 60s.
at that point,
Right.
you cannot use advertisements anymore. At that point.
There's a movie of Ricky Gervais, Invention of Lying. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched that.
I haven't actually seen it yet, but
Yes.
Let me give you the premise. There's no lying. Think about a universe that there's no lying, but everybody tells the truth. So when you see someone, you ask, how are you? He says, I want to commit suicide. So, honest truth. But with that comes, there are no advertisements. There is no movies. There is no comedy. There's nothing. There's no art, because art is lying anyways. So,
Yeah, so mechanic life, it brings us.
and this guy discovers to tell the truth. So, the guy has a superpower then. Which,
Yeah, if you're the only liar in a truth universe,
Yeah,
you're invincible, right?
of course.
because marketing in the end is lying when you go to that.
Well, maybe we like also a certain amount of mystery. We like a certain amount of not knowing.
We like comfort.
I know, but it's also exciting to discover something you don't know. Look, if I know everything about you or everything about you, we probably wouldn't have that conversation. Like this, we understand more from each other and we discover more. And by this discovery, it's interesting, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, we can just sit at home. So I suppose that the technology will not destroy human nature in itself. I think that probably will stay.
It will just change.
But as social media changed us, right?
Yeah,
I think it will probably be a similar change again.
of course.
And probably the essence of human nature will not be touched.
Actually, when you look at the timeline, ethics is a construct. Privacy is a construct. And it changes with time and with the surrounding.
Yes.
When you,
In the Roman Empire, ethics was quite different than today.
of course, and it should be, because the human history is built up on needs. Whatever is needed, it happens, and then the humans get used to it. It becomes your new normal. Let's say, of course, nobody wants to be in the social media space forever, I know that. But the issue is, it happened, and you have to adapt. Let's say, just delete WhatsApp from your phone. You won't be able to do anything, right?
Yes.
So you have to do that.
Unfortunately.
It doesn't matter if it's not a matter of want, because it's a matter of need.
Yes, I'm totally.
So WhatsApp is, for now, for this time and space, is a tool that you have to use. Without that, you cannot do anything. If you don't use it, you would be a person that's living in a Bronze Age,
Yes.
where everybody has nuclear energy. So,
But maybe, we can find that compromise that once in a while you need a holiday, right?
yeah, okay.
From your work, from your life.
How
from
long?
Anything.
10
And
days?
maybe you could, sometimes it's good to make a holiday even from social media.
10 days? Try it. You'll go crazy.
I admit I have not tried it yet.
I've tried actually.
You went
in
crazy?
7 days. No, I don't went crazy.
And
It was good, but everybody doesn't want actually that kind of living. So they became crazy.
yeah, because they think something happened to you, right?
Yes.
Or we should have a holiday.
You have to put your WhatsApp status, I'm on holiday.
I'm okay.
I'm alive.
No,
Yes.
there's a way.
I'm okay.
I don't have
Leave
any
me alone.
problems. Be happy.
Just like the national holidays that we
Yeah.
have, we should have a worldwide holiday for 1 week. Nobody uses the internet. Everybody would go crazy.
I mean, this originally was the invention of a Sunday, right?
Huh?
On a Sunday or a Sabbath or like the day where you really don't do anything, where you withdraw from the world, you don't do anything. And you know, the only time I do that is actually when I'm going in a forest walk. I don't take my phone purposefully. I want to experience the forest. I want to be alone. I also don't take anybody. I just want to be completely with myself. And that recharges me. And then when I come out, I'm mostly more happy than the way I go in.
Yes, of
I don't think
course.
fighting with the time is a good idea for a person. Fighting with the time that you are living in. If it's there, use it. If you won't use it, don't use it. Don't complain while using it. That's my idea, because it causes stress. Anxiety is an issue for a modern human. It was not an issue for a medieval human, because you didn't have anxiety because you had the chance of getting your head cut off. When you have that, you don't have anxiety, because life is short there. Even now, 80 years is, if you're lucky, you live for 80 years. It's a very short time when you look at the scope of the universe. When you're talking about
It's a blink.
4.5 billion year old stone that you're living on, 8 years is nothing. But for you, it's everything. So you are trying to push as much stuff or things you can to that. And for the first 10 years, you don't have conscience. For the last 10 years, your head is gone. So 60 years. You get married.
If you're lucky.
If you get married at 25, you have just about 15 years to be happy. So the rest is, you know how it is. So we are trying to make sense of our being here, but there's no sense. You're just here.
Imagine following, I just have that idea. Imagine we would always live in the moment. I am not saying I'm able to do that, but imagine there's no past, there's no future.
Actually, there isn't.
We're just in the present, always. That means there is no past that influences you, no drama, no negative, no positive. You're always fresh. Every day fresh. Every day you wake up in the morning and the person lying next to you, you discover new.
There's a name for that. It's called Alzheimer's.
It was a good start.
So, could you please tell us more about Stephen Leah and his background?
Yes, thanks for asking that question. I learned to know Stephen over a common friend in New York, and when I first understood about him, I was really surprised, because he's not like an MIT graduate or somebody working for NASA. I mean, he works with NASA. He's basically a farmer that
That's very
lives
interesting.
on his farm in Texas, grows mainly grass, I mean like lawn, you know, that you can sell and put in front of your garden. And he's from a farming community, from a family of farmers. And the way he discovered this technology is also an interesting story. It basically was more or less by coincidence. He had a vision one day what could be done. And then he was himself absolutely amazed what he could all do with that technology and see with technology. So even he himself didn't at the beginning know where the journey would go. It was basically, he had an idea, he tried it out, and it's really like, you know, old-time inventions, you know. It's basically, you have an idea, you try to make this idea a reality, and then you only discover what it all means. So in a way, it's a fantastic story.
Yes, they're really fantastic.
It
So
doesn't make any sense to me.
it doesn't have any scientific background, right?
He has been reading and self-discovering about quantum mechanics all his life. So it was not like a completely unrelated topic to him.
Actually, it's really hard to do, by the way.
Yes.
If you are not, even the jargon of quantum
Yes, of
is
course. It's very complicated subject.
It is. And I have to also admit that he stumbled over that technology, so to say. One cannot explain logically. I mean, you know, some people say these things are visions, these things are, let's say, a God's gift. I don't want to use that name necessarily, but it is basically by pure chance. But you know, I think also when the time is right, certain technologies are discovered. Look, I come from a town in South Germany, very near Stuttgart. And in Stuttgart, two people invented the petrol car as we know it today at the same time in the same town, and they didn't know from each other. And one day they met. Oh, I have a car. Wow, you have a car, my God. How you got that car? I made it. And you know, one was Gottlieb Daimler and the other one Carl Benz. And that is, we know the company today, Mercedes-Benz. So I think when the time is right, somehow people discover things, and funny-wise, often in the same vicinity.
Actually, we know that the wheel has been invented in the earth by the humans in different areas of the earth at the same time, just about the same time.
So there is probably some form of consciousness that connects us all, and for some reason there is a certain moment when you focus onto a certain space that certain truths come out. I mean, there is in quantum mechanics a process of observation, right?
Yeah.
And the moment we observe something, we change it, as we saw in the double slit experiment. So I believe if enough people observe a certain condition or have a certain problem, a similar answer comes. Because mostly there is only one very practical answer to a problem. Like when you want to invent the wheel and you don't have it, it's very practical.
Because you need it though.
Yes, because pushing stones is really hard, right, by hand.
Or carrying stuff.
Yes.
So when the time comes and people need to carry bigger items to one place to another at the same time at the earth, in different space of the world, you just stumble upon the wheel because you need it. This, I don't know if we need it because the technology came to a level, not just quantum, all of it. First the technology is developed and then the need is produced. Same with social media.
Yes.
Because you don't need it. But when the technology is there, it's used to market something to you and then you need it.
I have an argument against that. It's a simple thing. Nobody needs a beautiful black forest cake. But yes, we do.
No, people need that. When you're talking about food, people need food. But
so we agree on that.
So
I think needs, you're absolutely right. They are of course often created, especially by, again, we talked about advertisement. So we believe we need something because it is told to us. And you know, like a certain makeup, a certain fashion, a certain car, depends if you're a woman or a man. Even though this is also interchangeable, you know, a lot of women I know have really cool cars and sometimes I don't have the coolest car. So it goes in all directions. But I think to see clearly how the world is, and for me this is a little bit part of that technology, that we see things we haven't seen and we have more clarity. I think this is definitely a benefit for everybody. If it is in medical, or if it is in environment, because even in environment, we have so many opinions these days. Some people say we have global warming. The next guy says an ice age is coming. The one person says, oh, CO2 is really terrible. The next one says, oh my God, we need it because otherwise trees can't breathe. So what is really the truth? It's probably beyond that discussion, and if we can see that, I think also it would save us a lot of discussions, because I don't know, I didn't do the science, and I'm only actually hearing opinions. If these opinions can be removed and I see facts, wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah.
I have a saying, I always use it in this type of conversations. If in doubt, zoom out, because you have a certain time limit. People say, oh, the humans are in a very bad condition for now. Just zoom out. Go back 300 years. Go back 1,000 years. We are much better. We are much better. We live much longer. We live much healthier. But it comes with other issues that they didn't have back then. This thing, if it's real, if it happens, if it's applied, it will come with new solutions, but that solutions will bring more problems, especially for the people that see that for the first time. But in time, it becomes normal to everyone, then the whole society changes with it. So it's just that.
You know, one thought comes to mind. I don't remember exactly how it's called, but there was an experiment with monkeys on an island. And basically, one thing, can somebody take away the phone because it's constantly buzzing? You hear that? No.
Okay, I was about to stop anyway.
Yeah.
Is everything?
It's constantly somebody's texting.
You're talking about the leather experiment?
No, about the potatoes.
What is?
So as we come to an end to our discussion, please let me hear your opinion about the topic, and maybe that's going to influence any of your future plans.
Well, actually, I'm very impressed about the subject and more curious about it. It has not end. It doesn't have any end. So makes another ideas on my mind. I need to speak a lot actually with you, you know. So it's very interesting that you're saying.
This is just planting seeds on your mind.
Yes,
to
yes, right
work
now,
on it more.
yes.
It's the idea actually, right?
Yes. And it grows.
I think this
grown
was a
up.
fun thought experiment. I mean, because for me, science is science. Because I'm very backwards thinking that way. Anything that's proved is science for me. But I'm not a scientist. I'm just an end user. And what if it's real and it's proven and it's right and it changes my life? I will adapt. I'm a human. That's what I do. I adapt.
Well, I want to both thank you very much
thank you too.
for giving me the female perspective to a new science and the male perspective to a new science. And I think our viewers have to also make up their own mind.
Yes, it's
And,
you saw the diversity actually.
People should read.
Yes. And I'm really grateful that you were here with me today in beautiful Istanbul.
Thank you so much.
Unfortunately, outside is raining, so
Yes,
we have
right
a good
now.
time here. And I hope we have further discussions in the future. And I'm again thanking you very, very
We
much.
thank you too.
I'm very
Thank you
grateful.
very
It was glad to meet you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.